Okay, so you want to own a travel agency, work from a laptop in Bali, book a few flights, collect commission checks while you are sipping something with an umbrella in it. Sounds like the perfect business. And honestly, from the outside, it really does look that way. But here's what people who actually make a living in this industry know, and what nobody selling you a Start Your Travel Business Today course will ever tell you. A travel agency is not a license to print free vacations. It is a high-volume, low-margin retail business that happens to sell dreams, where your biggest competitor is a website that spends more on office snacks than you make in a year. There are 181 travel agencies in the United States as of 2026, more than there were before the pandemic, because everyone with a laptop and an Instagram account thinks they can be a travel agent. And they can. That is the problem. Let us talk about the number that sucks everyone into this industry. You can start a travel agency for $500. $500. That is less than a cheap laptop. You join a host agency, pay a setup fee, get access to booking systems, and suddenly you are in the travel business. The median startup cost for a hosted travel agent is around $1,500. For a home-based agency, between $600 and $2,500. That sounds amazing until you realize that starting cheap and staying alive are two completely different things. Most new agents end up spending between $3,000 and $8,000 in their first year before they see any meaningful income. Because you need certifications. You need a website. You need customer relationship management software. You need errors and omissions insurance, in case you book something wrong and a client sues you. And you need marketing, because nobody knows you exist. The travel industry has one of the lowest barriers to entry of any professional service business. That is the hook. It is also the trap. When everyone can do it, nobody makes money doing it. Here's a date that changed the travel industry forever. February 1995. Delta Airlines decided it was tired of paying travel agents 10% commission on every ticket they sold. So they capped it. 5% maximum. $25 one way, $50 round trip. Other airlines watched, nodded approvingly, and did the same thing. By March of 2002, 8 of the 10 largest airlines in the United States had cut their base commissions to exactly zero. Not 10%. Not 5%. Zero. Before 1995, travel agents booked 80% of all airline tickets in America. The commission on those tickets was how they paid their rent. When the airlines pulled that revenue stream, the entire business model had to be reinvented overnight. Travel agents went from being partners of the airlines to being an expense the airlines no longer wanted to carry. And they did not just lose a revenue stream. They lost the product that brought customers through the door. Because nobody walks into a travel agency to buy a $12 car rental add-on. They come in to book a flight. And suddenly, the flight paid nothing. Let us break down what a travel agency actually earns on a typical booking. A family of 4 books, a 7-night vacation to Cancun. The flight component of that booking? Zero commission. The hotel at $200 a night, $1,400 total, earns the agent somewhere between 10 and 20%. That is between $140 and $280. The airport transfer earns roughly 15%, maybe another $30. Travel insurance at 20 to 30% commission adds maybe $60. The total commission on a $5,000 vacation package is somewhere between $250 and $400. That is 5 to 8% of the total booking value, before taxes. Before the agent splits that commission with their host agency, which typically takes between 30 and 50% of everything you earn. So the agent who booked that $5,000 family vacation walks away with roughly $150 to $250 for what might be 10 to 15 hours of research, communication, and booking work. That works out to somewhere between $10 and $20 an hour, less than the family is paying for their airport transfer. Most people who want to be travel agents do not open their own agency with their own International Air Transport Association credentials. That requires significant booking volume and capital. Instead, they join a host agency. The host agency provides the credentials, the booking platform, the supplier contracts, and the compliance framework. In exchange, they take a cut of every commission you earn. A typical split is 50-50 on your first year, moving to 60-40 or 70-30 as you prove your value. Some host agencies charge a flat monthly fee instead, between $50 and $200, and let you keep a higher percentage. That sounds better until you realize you are paying $200 a month before you have booked a single trip. The host agency model is not predatory. It is the only way most people can enter the industry. But it means that from day one, someone else is taking half of everything you earn, and that half covers their overhead, not yours. Your overhead, website, software, insurance, marketing, phone, internet, comes out of your half. The agent who thinks they are keeping the whole commission check is in for an unpleasant surprise. Now let us talk about the elephant in the departure lounge. Online travel agencies. Booking.com, Expedia, Airbnb. These are not competitors. They are forces of nature. Booking.com charges hotels between 10 and 25% commission on every booking. Expedia charges between 15 and 30%. The traditional travel agent gets 10 to 20%. The OTA collects a higher commission, has a larger inventory, operates 24 hours a day in 30 languages, and spends billions of dollars on marketing. There is a reason the online travel agency market is worth over $2 trillion. The traditional agency cannot compete on price. It cannot compete on selection. It cannot compete on convenience. What it can do is offer expertise and personal service. That is the one thing an algorithm cannot replicate. The problem is that expertise and personal service take time. And, as we just established, time is something the travel agent cannot afford to give away for free, when the math on a $5,000 booking works out to $15 an hour. There is a story that every travel agent knows but does not like to talk about. Thomas Cook was the world's first travel agency. Founded in 1845, the company invented the package holiday. It operated in 17 countries, owned a fleet of aircraft, and ran thousands of hotels. It survived 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and the invention of the Internet, and then on September 23, 2019, it collapsed. 178 years of business, gone in a weekend. The company carried £1.7 billion in debt. It failed to secure a £200 million rescue package from its bankers. 21,000 employees lost their jobs. 150,000 customers were stranded in foreign countries, requiring the largest peacetime repatriation effort in British history to bring them home. The reasons for the collapse read like a textbook of everything that can go wrong in this industry. An ill-fated acquisition spree loaded the company with debt. A bloated retail footprint meant expensive high-street rents for stores customers no longer visited. The product became commoditized, indistinguishable from what every other travel company offered. And the online travel agencies ate their lunch while management was distracted by the debt payments. Thomas Cook did not die because the internet killed travel agents. It died because it failed to adapt, and the industry it invented had no interest in waiting. Let us look at what the average travel agent actually earns. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual wage for a travel agent was $48,450 in 2024. The average was $51,249. The top 10% of earners, the ones who specialize in luxury cruises or corporate travel, break 6 figures at $97,913. But the bottom 25% earn less than $33,000 a year. Let us put that in perspective. The median U.S. household income is roughly $75,000. The median travel agent earns about 35% less than that. A high school teacher earns $52,000. A registered nurse earns $77,000. A travel agent earns $48,000 a year to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because when a client is stranded in Bangkok at 2 in the morning because their flight was canceled, they are not calling Booking.com. They are calling you. And if you do not answer that call, you have lost a client forever. When the airlines eliminated commissions, travel agencies had to invent an entirely new revenue stream. They started charging the customer service fees, consulting fees, planning fees. A typical agent now charges between $25 and $75 just to book a flight because the airline pays them nothing. They charge $100 to $300 for a custom itinerary. They charge a percentage of the total trip cost, typically 10 to 15%, on top of whatever commission the suppliers pay. The customer is now paying for something that used to be free. And that changes the dynamic completely. Because now the agent has to justify their fee. They have to be worth more than the website that charges nothing. And for the good ones, the ones who know the hidden gems, who have personal relationships with hotel managers, who can get you an upgrade or a room when the hotel is sold out online, that fee is worth it. But for the thousands of agents who are just booking what the customer can find on Google, it is a hard sell. And in an era where every dollar counts, a $75 booking fee is enough to send a customer to Expedia permanently. Here is the part of the travel agency business model that actually works. Add-ons. Travel insurance carries a 20 to 30% commission. That is the highest margin product in the agency's toolkit. A comprehensive travel insurance policy for a $5,000 trip might cost the customer $300. The agent earns $60 to $90 on that policy, more than they earn on the flight, more than they earn on the hotel, all for a product they sell in about 90 seconds at checkout. The smart agencies have figured this out. They push insurance, they push priority boarding passes, they push seat upgrades, they push lounge access, they push prepaid excursions. Every add-on carries a higher commission percentage than the core booking itself. The travel agency business is not a travel business. It is an insurance and upselling business that dresses itself up in brochures about paradise. The margin is not in the trip. It is in everything that surrounds the trip. And the agent who does not sell insurance is leaving their best revenue stream on the table. Here is the pattern that separates the agents who survive from the ones who quit after 18 months. Generalists die. Specialists thrive. The travel agent who tries to book everything for everyone is competing with Google, Expedia, and every other agent who also books everything for everyone. The agent who focuses on one niche, luxury river cruises in Europe, adventure travel in Patagonia, destination weddings in the Caribbean, safaris in East Africa, can charge premium fees and justify their existence. Cruise specialists are the clearest example. A 7-night cruise on a premium line earns the agent around 16% commission, sometimes up to $1,000 on a single booking. The specialist knows every cabin category, every ship layout, every itinerary variation. They have sailed the route themselves. They can answer questions that Expedia's chatbot cannot. The niche strategy works, but it requires travel, research, and years of relationship building. It is not passive. It is not easy. And it definitely is not something you can start doing on a laptop in Bali with $500. Running a modern travel agency requires technology that the customer never sees. A customer relationship management system to track leads and past bookings. An itinerary builder to create professional proposals. A payment portal that handles deposits and final payments. A website with real-time availability and pricing. Automated email sequences for follow-ups and trip reminders. Marketing tools for social media and email campaigns. A channel manager if you work with multiple suppliers. Each of these tools costs between $20 and $200 a month. Together, a reasonable tech stack runs between $200 and $500 a month. That is between $2,400 and $6,000 a year before you have booked a single trip. And unlike the hotel or the flight, the customer never sees this cost. They do not know you are paying for a CRM. They do not care. They just want their trip to work. The technology tax is invisible, relentless, and absolutely mandatory. The agency that skips on tech saves money in the short term and loses clients in the long term. The agency that invests in tech pays the tax every single month and hopes the bookings come fast enough to cover it. Let us bring this back to where we started. You want to own a travel agency. You see yourself working from anywhere, helping people plan dream vacations and collecting commissions that somehow make it all work. And it is not impossible. There are agents making six figures doing this. There are agencies that have been running for decades. There are people who genuinely love this business and are good at it. But the ones who succeed did not start because they saw an Instagram ad promising passive income. They started because they understood the math. They understood that the airlines do not pay you, so you have to charge the customer. They understood that Booking.com has more rooms than you will ever access, so you have to offer something the algorithm cannot. They understood that the average check is $50,000 a year, and the cost of doing business eats half of that before you see a dime. The only travel business that reliably delivers a return is the one you do not start. But if you do start one, do not compete on price. You will lose. Do not compete on inventory. You will lose. Compete on expertise. Charge for it. Accept that the first 2 years will pay you less than minimum wage, and understand that your biggest competitor is not the agency down the street. It is the 32-year-old Expedia server room in Seattle that processes billions of searches a day without ever asking for a day off.